All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about why some foods feel, well, almost impossible to resist. It's not just about being hungry, is it? It feels like something much, much bigger is going on.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? You're not even really hungry, but that bag of chips or that sleeve of cookies is just calling to you from the pantry. Trust me, you are not the only one. It's a super common experience.
And this is the absolute heart of the matter. That powerful craving, it is not a failure of your willpower. It's not about being weak. It's actually a biological chain reaction happening deep inside your brain.
So, to really understand what's happening, we have to start small. I mean, really small, at the molecular level. We're going to zoom in on one specific sugar, fructose, and track what it does when it gets to your brain's command center.
Okay, so let me introduce you to the main character in this first part of our story, the hippocampus. You can think of it as your brain's internal GPS, its librarian, and its learning center, all rolled into one. It is absolutely critical for so many things we take for granted. And when it's working right, it's a real powerhouse. We're not just talking about remembering facts for a test. This is where you form new long-term memories. It's how you learn. And maybe most importantly, it stores your episodic memories, the actual events of your life that make you you. But here's where things get a little scary. Research in animal studies is showing that a diet high in fructose can actually physically change the hippocampus. We're talking about a potential 40% drop in the creation of new brain cells, fewer connections for your thoughts to travel on. It can even cause inflammation. The actual hardware of your memory can be damaged. Okay, so that's what's happening on the micro level with just one ingredient. But let's zoom out, because in the real world, we rarely eat just one ingredient in isolation. We eat food. So let's talk about the foods we really struggle with. And this brings us to this pretty controversial term, food addiction. Now, this isn't just a casual phrase. Scientists actually measure it with something called the Yale Food Addiction Scale, and it looks for real observable symptoms, like a loss of control, powerful cravings, and continuing to eat these foods even when you know they're having negative consequences in your life. Sound familiar? So what are the biggest culprits? Well, when researchers just flat out asked people what foods they have the hardest time with, the answers were, well, look for yourself. On one side, you've got pizza, chocolate, chips, cookies, ice cream. And on the other, cucumbers, carrots, plain beans. The contrast couldn't be more clear. So, what's the common thread here? What connects all those foods on the most problematic list? It's not just sugar, and it's not just fat. It's that they are almost all highly processed foods, engineered with massive doses of both fat and refined carbs, a combination that you almost never find in nature. And the scale of this is pretty stunning. Right now, estimates suggest that 14% of adults actually meet the clinical criteria for ultra-processed food addiction. To put that number into perspective, that rate is right up there with the rates of addiction for legal substances that we take very seriously, like alcohol. All of this begs a really important question, doesn't it? Are these foods so irresistible by accident, or are they specifically designed to be that way? The author Michael Moss absolutely nails it here. He points out that with any substance, a huge factor in how addictive it is how fast it hits the brain. And because processed foods are stripped of fiber and other things that slow digestion, they deliver that reward hit to the brain almost instantly. To see how this all started, we have to jump in a time machine and go back to the 1980s. This was a really pivotal time when giant tobacco companies, yep, big tobacco, started buying up some of the most famous food companies in the world. Philip Morris bought General Foods and Kraft. R.J. Reynolds bought Nabisco. And here's the kicker. This wasn't just a financial investment. It was a transfer of technology and marketing genius. The same science, the same research, the same tactics they used to make cigarettes more addictive were now being used to design processed foods. And this led food scientists on a quest for something they literally call the bliss point. It's not about what tastes best. It's the exact, scientifically tested combination of salt, sugar, and fat that lights up the reward center of your brain like a Christmas tree. It gives you a huge dopamine spike, followed by a crash, that leaves you wanting another hit. Okay, so that's the science behind how we get hooked. It's a lot, I know, but here's the good news. Understanding the playbook is the first step toward regaining control. So let's talk about some real, practical strategies. First, it helps to just see the raw numbers. The American Heart Association suggests women should aim for no more than about 6 teaspoons of added sugar a day. The reality? The average American is getting closer to 22. That giant gap is where all these problems start to grow. So how do we start to close that gap? Well, according to Harvard Health, it starts with a few simple but really effective steps. Number 1, just get the temptation out of your house. It's the easiest win. 2, take back control. Buy things unsweetened like plain yogurt or oatmeal and add a little sweetness yourself. You will almost always add less. 3, become a label detective. Sugar hides everywhere, especially in low-fat foods. And 4, start your day strong with a filling, high-protein breakfast. It can set you up for success and crush cravings before they even start. So you see, the big picture strategy here isn't about suffering or depriving yourself. It's about a strategic shift. You want to focus on foods that digest slowly, that give you stable, sustained energy, not a quick spike and a crash. We're talking whole grains, protein, healthy fats, fruits, vegetables. It's about getting off that blood sugar roller coaster. And all this leaves us with a pretty heavy question to think about. If ultra-processed foods are engineered from the ground up to hijack our brain's ancient survival wiring, then how much of our eating is really about personal choice? And how much is just a predictable biological response to an irresistible man-made stimulus? It's definitely some food for thought.